All right, the time being 7:33, the Board of Health will start the meeting for October 1st, 2024. We shall start with the first item on the agenda, which is approval of the September 3rd, 2024 minutes. Any comments from anyone? I had one. And that's Melissa, if you go to the first motion, planning board request for the site plan for the Jaitan Hotel, the line right before motion, it says the project will probably utilize.
Okay, thank you.
That's the only thing that I found.
All right, we'll definitely make that change.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board members? Okay. Anyone would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes?
I can make a motion to approve the minutes. The minutes are approved with the comments from Mona.
So as amended, okay. Do I hear a second? Okay, I don't hear a second. I'll second that. All right, the motion being made and seconded. I will take a vote. I'll start with Stefan.
Aye.
Brenda?
I'm going to abstain.
Richard? Can't hear me? Okay. And I? So,
I'm sorry, Mona.
Did you hear me, Brenda?
Yeah, does that work with me abstaining where I wasn't here?
So
okay,
you can vote in favor if you'd like. It's kind of like a personal preference. So even though one's not in attendance at every meeting, as long as you're what you are doing is you're approving the minutes as written.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, again, some people decide not to. I have to look at who was present at last month's meeting. I have a quorum and it passes. If not, we'll put it on the agenda for next month's meeting.
Yeah, I read them and I approve. So I approve.
Okay, so Stefan was here, I was here last, right? And
so we'll do it as 3, and then again, if Richard's able to either like drop it in the chat or verbally tell us that, then we'll switch it to 4.
Okay, so so vote is 3-0-0, right?
I would say for now, yes. Once Rich is like officially on, then we'll be able to count him in. That sounds good.
All right, good. So let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is the variance for the septic variance request from 14 Deborah Drive. Do we have anyone tonight from?
I am here, Mona. John Clausen.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Okay,
So
haven't seen you for a while.
I know there's something wrong with my camera.
Oh, that's okay. I can't, I don't know if that plan's on this computer. So if someone wants to put it up, that's fine, or else I can just sort of explain it to you.
I'll put it up, John.
Okay, Megan, thanks. So this is the plan. Deborah Drive is off of, is it Apple Tree? So if you go down 109 heading towards Medfield, Apple Tree is on the left. And then you actually drive down that street and at the end of it, it turns into Deborah Drive. It's kind of a little odd, but it's no problem. But that's where it is. and it's on the left-hand side, and it has a lot of wetlands. In fact, there's more
Mhm.
wetlands that shows on the plan. Originally, and I think Megan, you and I may have walked it. Originally, I thought that the septic system could go in the front of this yard
Mhm.
where the Mass GIS did not show wetlands, but once we actually physically looked at the property, it's wetlands all the way out to the street. And basically, I think what happened, so this house was built and this lot was developed before the Clean Waters Act. So this
Mhm.
essentially, from what I think Megan and I found out, appears to be sort of filled in wetlands, or at least partially filled in wetlands. And where we're showing the leach field, we dug down 2 test pits, and essentially at the bottom of the fill, I mean, not only did we see, models like indication of water table, we actually saw water. So
Mhm.
that's why I believe this is sort of filled in wetlands. So when we see water like that in the layer where you can't do the perk test in the fill, you have to do it in the naturally occurring soil. We can't do a perk test when there's already water in the perk hole, so to speak. So we took a sample, I bring it down to Filch Engineering, which is a big engineering company. And one of their main things is they do set testing of all sorts of stuff. But one thing is they do testing of soils. So they came back and said this was sand soil. So we designed it based on sand. We're using a Presby system because we weren't really able to show, I think, 4 feet of naturally occurring. I'm not sure about. No. So we need to use a Presby system because that allows us to just have 2 feet of naturally occurring, but it's good soil, believe it or not, that what's below the wetlands. And then we actually have 3 feet separation to water table, which is what's required for Presby when you have a 2-minute perk, which essentially is what this would equate to because the soil was so sandy. And so that's number 1 request for a waiver from the strict requirements of Title V is to allow the septic system, the leach field, to be designed and constructed without the benefit of a perk test. And this isn't something that's new. I know you guys have voted this for me before. And I think here, I mean, we were actually out there when it's pretty much a drought and we're still seeing water tables. So I don't think, any time of year is a good time here to be able to do a perk test. And then the other request for waiver is that under the Board of Health regulations or under Title V regulations, you have to be 50 feet back from wetlands. And as you can see, we had the wetlands delineated by a wetland scientist, around the back of the lot and then along the front of the lot. And there really isn't any place to put this system other than where we're showing it, which is in the existing lawn at the rear of the house. So we're 32.2 feet, so essentially 32 feet, 3 inches from the wetlands. And there just isn't any other way to do this. So you are allowed to, if this was new construction, you would be prohibited from granting this variance. But since it's a replacement or a repair of an existing system, you can't. You're allowed to grant the variance, and we can't really move that system any closer to the house because we have to be 20 feet back from the foundation. So I just believe it's not very likely that this system would really affect those wetlands. And that's it. And then just to move on, because I see you have it on for Conservation Commission as well. So under the wetland regulations, it would be 50 feet only for new construction. There's no requirement under the Massachusetts wetland regulations for setback from wetlands for a replacement septic system. That's pretty well documented in the wetland regulations. But anyway, sort of
what
getting.
you built on, do you know what year the house was built?
I don't have that right in front of me, but I think it was the early 1970s.
Okay.
And I think the Clean Water Act is somewhere around 1975 or so. So clearly, the whole subdivision clearly was done before the current wetland regulations, and I believe before the adoption of the U.S. Clean Water Act. So that's kind of how it got built and what we have to deal with. And clearly, there's no sewer in this part of town. This house is connected to the water system, so we don't have to deal with a well. So we just have to deal with setback to wetlands, and we can't do a perk test, even though, I mean, I categorized the soil as loamy sand. It was very sandy soil, and then the sieve analysis actually had hardly any fines in it, and basically said it was basically identified it as sand.
Mhm.
So I guess that's it, unless you have questions. I mean, you can see on the profile, I mean, it's going to be a new septic tank. It's a pump chamber, so we pump it up so to create the separation to the water table. The system will be sort of raised up a bit, but not really all that terrible, maybe 10 or 12 inches above the existing ground.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. Any concerns from the health department, Melissa, Megan?
No concerns. It is currently failed Title V, so it's a repaired, so it is allowable per Title V regs.
Any questions or concerns from the board members? Anyone would like to entertain a motion?
I could entertain a motion here. I was going to say I have no questions or concerns, but bear with me for a second. I'm trying to pull up a. There we go. So, in regards to the request for determination of applicability for 14 Deborah Drive.
No, it's the septic area.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. It's the septic variance request for 14 Deborah Drive. The board has no concerns. And this one is an approval.
Right.
Yep. And the board approves as written.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Okay, I'll second that. So the motion being entertained and seconded, I will run a vote. Stefan?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
And Richard is still not, can't hear us probably, and I myself too. So for now, 3-0-0. And we shall move to the next agenda, to the next item on the agenda, which is the request for determination of applicability, 14 Deborah Drive.
So
Megan?
do you want me to speak to that as well? I mean,
Oh, sure.
It's
Oh,
the
sure.
same thing. So in Walpole, right, they want you to stay 25, no disturb within 25 feet of the wetlands. So we've been able to achieve that. So even though our system is 32 feet from the wetlands, we're not disturbing any area that's within 25 feet of the wetlands. So what we're asking for, a request for determination, basically is asking the Conservation Commission, is this something that can, simply be approved with the plan that's shown and with the erosion control that's shown, or does the Conservation Commission want me to file what's called a notice of intent, which is a much, larger and more involved application. But I think in the end, and I'm pretty sure the Conservation Commission is going to agree with me because we've done this many times in the past, it really doesn't to encumber the property and sort of spend all that extra money nothing is really going to change. Whether we are required to file the notice of intent or not. The plan's not going to change. The way the contractor builds the system is not going to change. And so it's just a matter of what the Conservation Commission does is they issue what they call a -3, which basically says that the work is within 100 feet of wetlands. However, because it's unlikely that the work's going to alter the wetlands, that they're going to just let it go forward the way it goes. And we always tell them, Landis, the agent, is always invited to come out to any one of these septic system repairs to inspect if she thinks that there's some reason to do that. But we have all the controls that we would have whether this was a full notice of intent or not. So I think that it's not all that risky for them to approve it, as I said, with a negative determination of applicability.
Okay.
So that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions or concerns from the board members or the health department? No, I don't.
No concerns.
Okay, then I will, anyone would like to entertain a motion? Okay, I will entertain a motion in regards to the request for determination of applicability. The Board of Health has no specific concern at this time. Do I hear a second?
I can second.
Okay, so the motion has been entertained and seconded. I will run a vote. Brenda?
Aye.
Stefan?
Aye.
And I myself, so that's 3-0-0. And did you want to discuss anything?
So the only other thing that I had on the agenda, I just kept it on because we haven't passed the date yet, is just our flu clinic. So just kind of another plug. We do have our upcoming flu clinic. We did pivot a little bit with the 300th day parade coming up this Saturday. We are using the space, the Old Town Hall space, which is just adjacent to the Commons, which the celebration will take place. Food trucks and things along that nature. So we will have a flu clinic open from the hours of 10 to 1. And that is going to be, 11 to 1, and that's going to be this Saturday at Old Town Hall. So we have probably about 30 or so individuals pre-registered. So we will take people registered, obviously, but then also those walking in. So we'll have some lawn signs. So we may be able to capture some individuals that are a part of celebrations that want to get the flu vaccine. So again, it will be this Saturday, the 5th, and it's from 11 to 1. And then we have our large clinic for the seniors is coming Monday, the 7th, and that's from 10 to 2. And that's in collaboration with the COA. They do their annual health fair. So that's always a pretty busy event with a lot of vendors, and we are able to vaccinate a good amount of individuals. And then I did leave it in the email to the board that following these 2 flu clinics, Trish will be offering the flu vaccine every Tuesday. And she will be doing office hours from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the time being to help accommodate those that maybe weren't able to get their vaccine at any of the other clinics we offered. So that link is on our website. We do have the link outside of our office, and I did share it with the board. So if you know anyone that's looking for their vaccine and potentially either can attend this weekend, send them the links, or if they can't and are able to attend, she would start the weekly clinics beginning Tuesday, the 8th. And then I will let the board know when that ends wrapping up. So then that way you can let individuals know as well. But yeah, we have a good group of people signed up to volunteer, and weather looks good on Saturday. So we'll go on Friday to the Council on Aging to set up our clinic for Monday. And then we'll break down following our clinic. So, but that's all I have.
Is Trish the only one vaccinating this year?
So no, so we have a good amount. We're going to be doing 4 vaccinators at the clinic on Saturday, and then we'll have 6 vaccinators on the clinic on Monday.
Okay, are they like nurses from the schools or?
From our medical reserve corps. So we really rely heavily on our medical reserve corps. So medical reserve corps, the name is somewhat deceiving, but it's volunteers that have medical as well as non-medical background. So since I've been here for the past 10 years, and it really bulked up during our COVID vaccination clinics, which we offered very frequently, we have our volunteers help out from traffic control to registration, to screening, to vaccinating, to first aid. So we really appreciate our volunteers. And then, like you referenced, Mona, we do have a handful of the school nurses that help out that are great as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
so it's a good group. But that's all I had. And then our next meeting, as of now, is going to be held virtually, and we would meet on Tuesday, October 15th.
October 15. The next meeting again is on October 15, 2024 via Zoom again. Okay. Everyone has that. Does anyone have any problem with the 10:15?
Nope, I can
Nope.
make it.
Okay, great, great. Okay,
All
so
right.
anything else? Anyone would like to discuss anything else? Okay, if not, then I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting on October 1st, 2024. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. Motion has been made and seconded. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night.